USA, savage impulse. The United States spent the last century perfecting the rotating bolt action and the semi-automatic gas gun, largely ignoring the straight pull mechanisms favored across the Atlantic. Savage arms changed that conversation by introducing the impulse, an American take on linear speed that bypasses the complex, expensive machining usually seen in German or Austrian imports. Instead of expanding colettes, this rifle utilizes a hex-lock system. 6 hardened steel ball bearings sit inside the bolt head, and when the handle is pushed forward, a plunger forces these bearings out to lock into the receiver extension. It feels different than its European cousins. There is a distinct mechanical sensation as the bearings engage a tactile confirmation that the rifle is in battery. The ambidextrous bolt handle is a nod to the practical nature of American shooters, allowing the user to swap the handle to the left side or adjust the angle without visiting a gunsmith. Weighing in around 8 pounds, depending on the configuration, it carries enough heft to soak up the recoil of a stout .30-06 cartridge. The receiver is aluminum rather than steel, which keeps the weight manageable, but the lockup happens steel on steel within the barrel extension for safety. Savage integrated their adjustable accu-trigger here as well, recognizing that a fast action means nothing if the pull pulls the sights off target. It represents a shift in domestic manufacturing, proving that high-speed linear cycling isn't exclusive to high-dollar custom shops in the Alps. It is a working man's speed tool built for the whitetail woods. Germany. Blaser R8. Germany has a long memory when it comes to bolt-action rifles, tracing a line all the way back to the Mauser 98 that defined military arms for half a century. But the Blaser R8 steps away from that rotating turn bolt tradition entirely to create something that dominates the modern European hunting landscape. When you handle an R8, the first thing you notice is the absence of the traditional lifting motion. The straight pull action here relies on a radial locking system, a collet that expands 360 degrees directly into the barrel grooves. It handles immense pressure, locking up tighter the harder the powder burns. Most shooters are used to a receiver that runs long to accommodate the bolt traveling backward, but the R8 cuts that length down significantly by integrating the trigger group directly into the magazine. The entire assembly drops out into your hand. This design choice makes the rifle roughly 3 inches shorter than a standard firearm, with the same barrel length shifting the balance point back toward the shoulder. It points naturally, almost instinctively. The cocking slide on the tang replaces a traditional safety, meaning the firing pin spring is only under tension right before the shot. Chambered often in versatile rounds like the .308 Winchester, the modularity allows a user to swap barrels and calibers in moments without losing zero. The engineering tolerance is so tight that dirt or ice barely registers as an impediment. Watching a seasoned hunter run this action is a study in economy of motion. The hand simply flicks back and snaps forward, ready for a follow-up shot, before the brass even hits the ground. Italy, Beretta BRX-1. Beretta has been making barrels since 1526, so their entry into the straight pull market carries the weight of 5 centuries of metallurgy. The BRX-1 draws heavily from military research, specifically the experience gained developing the ARX-160 assault rifle. You can feel that martial heritage in the action. It uses a rotating bolt head with 8 lugs or 16 for magnum calibers that turns and locks as the carrier moves linearly. The motion is slick, borrowing the reliability of a battle rifle and refining it for the precision required in the field. The chassis system uses a high-performance polymer that feels dense and durable, absorbing vibration rather than transmitting it to the cheek. A shooter can swap the bolt handle from right to left in seconds, and even switch the ejection side, making it truly ambidextrous right out of the box. This level of modularity is rare. The trigger group detaches easily, allowing for weight adjustments between roughly 2 and 3 pounds, without needing tools, a feature usually reserved for competition guns. In a 300 Win Mag chambering, the linear reloading cycle helps the shooter stay on the scope through the heavy recoil impulse. The bolt carrier doesn't extend past the back of the receiver, which prevents the shooter from flinching away to avoid getting hit in the nose, a common fear with older straight-pull designs. It brings a level of tactical adaptability to the sporting world, bridging the gap between a soldier's tool and a hunter's companion. Austria, Strasser RS-14. Austrian firearms manufacturing often blurs the line between industrial engineering and watchmaking. The Strasser RS-14 exemplifies this obsession with precision. The heart of this rifle is a locking mechanism that uses 4 solid steel radial elements that expand into the barrel extension. It handles high-pressure loads with ease, but the real marvel is the modularity. A hydraulic clamping system secures the barrel. By simply moving a lever, the barrel releases, allowing a caliber change from a light varmint round to a heavy magnum in less than 2 minutes. The action cycles with a smoothness that feels like parts are sliding on glass. There is almost no friction. The trigger group is removable and offers a set trigger function where a push forward lightens the pull to a mere few ounces for precision work. Standard models often feature a 22-inch barrel, yet the overall package feels compact due to the efficient receiver design. Safety is integrated into the bolt shroud, mechanically blocking the firing pin until the shooter is ready. The bolt handle attaches via a T-slot, allowing the user to change the handle knob to suit their grip preference. When firing a 6.5 Creedmoor, the recoil travels straight back, and the lightning-fast cycle time allows the shooter to observe the bullet impact through the optic. It is a system designed for those who appreciate mechanical complexity, working in perfect harmony to produce a simple, repeatable result. Belgium, Browning Maral. Van Herstal in Belgium holds a legendary status in firearms history, having produced the designs of John Moses Browning for decades. The Maral rifle reflects that lineage, looking partially like the famous BER semi-automatic hunting rifle. It shares the same receiver profile and stock lines, but the operating system is entirely unique. This is a straight pull action with a quick reloading system. A coil spring inside the mechanism compresses when the shooter pulls the bolt back. If you let go of the handle at the rear of the stroke, the spring drives the bolt forward, chambering the next round and locking the action automatically. This assisted return changes the rhythm of shooting. The operator only provides the rearward energy. The rifle handles the battery. It eliminates the risk of short stroking or failing to push the bolt fully forward under stress. The bolt stays contained within the housing, meaning nothing protrudes toward the shooter's eye, keeping the sight picture undisturbed. Chambered in hard-hitting calibers like the 9.3x62, the rifle manages recoil well due to its 2.9 kilogram weight and gas gun ergonomics. The fluted barrel and inflex recoil pad are modern touches on a classic silhouette. It occupies a strange, effective middle ground, offering the legal compliance of a manual repeater with a cycle speed that rivals a semi-automatic. It feels like the rifle is working with you, actively participating in the loading process. France, Chapuis rolls. French gunmaking has always marched to its own beat, prioritizing elegance and unique mechanical solutions. The Chapuis Rolls rifle opening locking system eschews the rotating bolt heads found elsewhere for a linear locking collar. 7 locking lugs extend directly into the barrel extension, providing a contact surface area of 260 square millimeters. The lockup is incredibly strong tested to pressures far exceeding standard proof loads. The cocking system is located on the rear of the bolt, sliding forward to arm the internal hammer. This makes the rifle completely safe to carry with a round in the chamber, as the mainspring is decompressed until the moment of firing. The magazine design is particularly clever. It drops down, but is attached to the trigger guard unit, preventing the accidental loss of the magazine in tall grass, a small detail that saves headaches in the field. Handling a R-rolls in a caliber like .270 reveals the smoothness of the CLS system. The bolt handle is positioned directly above the trigger, minimizing hand movement. The internal magazine can be top-loaded through the open action, a nod to traditionalists who prefer to top off a magazine without removing it. The aesthetic lines flow from the muzzle to the stock, hiding the complexity of the internal mechanics under a guise of classic simplicity. Finland, Lynx TD21. Finland is a nation of riflemen who understand deep snow and dense forests. The Lynx TD21, produced by Pirkan Ace, offers a solution to the straight pull concept that looks like nothing else on the market. Instead of a bolt that moves back and forth out of the rear of the receiver, the Lynx uses a transverse action. The bolt assembly slides along the side of the receiver, guided by a cross-bolt design. This significantly reduces the overall length of the firearm, making it one of the most compact repeating rifles available. This design eliminates the problem of the bolt hitting the shooter's face, allowing the shooter to keep their head firmly on the stock while cycling. It is incredibly quiet. The mechanical noise of cycling the action is dampened, which is vital when hunting game at close ranges in silent winter woods. The trigger mechanism is crisp, typical of Nordic precision. Weighing roughly 3.8 kilograms, it balances right between the hands. In .308 Winchester, the recoil impulse is linear and manageable. The manufacturing quality is small batch and robust, built to function when temperatures drop far below freezing. The Lynx is a pragmatic tool, prioritizing concealment and handling in tight spaces over traditional aesthetics. It forces a shooter to rethink how a bolt handle should move and where the receiver should end. UK Steel Core-designed Cyclone. Great Britain maintains a specialized niche in high-precision tactical rifles, and steel core designs represents the modern evolution of that capability. The Cyclone is not a hunting rifle in the traditional sense. It is a dedicated long-range system built on an aluminum chassis. The action utilizes a 4-lug bolt that requires a deliberate straight pull to cycle. Designed for military and law enforcement applications, the focus here is on rugged reliability and maintaining a sight picture during rapid engagement of multiple targets. The rifle manages the recoil of heavy rounds, like the .338 Lapua mag, through its substantial weight and inline construction. The chassis features a folding stock and a full-length rail for night vision or thermal optics. The bolt handle is oversized, meant to be operated with gloved hands in adverse conditions. Maintenance in the field is a priority. The bolt can be removed and stripped without tools, allowing a sniper to clear mud or debris instantly. The barrel is fluted to save weight and improve cooling. Shooting the Cyclone feels like operating heavy machinery. There is a solidity to the lockup that inspires confidence at distances exceeding 1,500 meters. It strips away the gentlemanly veneer of the sporting straight pull and presents the mechanism in its rawest, most functional form. Switzerland. Bleicher Challenger. The Swiss obsession with marksmanship is woven into their national identity, and the Bleicher Challenger is the instrument of that obsession. While the K31 is the grandfather, the Challenger is the Olympic athlete. This rifle dominates 300-meter standard rifle competitions globally. The action is a masterpiece of microengineering. The bolt movement is incredibly short, barely disrupting the shooter's position. The locking lugs are positioned at the rear, allowing for a shorter bolt throw and a stiffer receiver. Every surface is polished to minimize friction. The trigger is an electronic or mechanical marvel, often set to pull weights measured in mere grams. The stock is fully adjustable, looking more like a prosthetic extension of the shooter's body than a gun stock. It allows for micro-adjustments in cheek height, length of pull and cant. Chambered often in 7.5 by 55 Swiss or 6 mil BRR, the rifle is heavy, roughly 6 kilograms, designed to sit dead still in the prone position. The barrel is selected for supreme uniformity. When the shot breaks, the rifle barely moves. The straight pull action here isn't about rapid fire for hunting. It's about minimizing the physical effort required to reload, so the shooter's heart rate doesn't spike between shots. It is a laboratory instrument built for punching holes in paper with terrifying consistency. Russia. Izhmash Biathlon 7.4. Russian firearms design is usually associated with loose tolerances and rugged reliability. But in the world of the Winter Olympics, Izhmash creates something entirely different. The Biathlon 7.4 uses a toggle lock mechanism distinct from the sliding bolts of other nations. The shooter operates a lever on the side of the receiver with their thumb. A quick flick back opens the action, and a push forward locks it. This motion is incredibly fast, allowing biathletes to discharge 5 rounds of .22 long rifle in a matter of seconds. The mechanism is designed to function flawlessly in sub-zero temperatures where standard lubricants would freeze solid. The lockup is mechanical and positive, using the geometry of the toggle linkage to hold the bolt closed against the pressure of firing. The rifle features a unique magazine retention system on the stock, carrying spare magazines ready for rapid changes during competition. The barrel is cold hammer forged, providing the accuracy needed to hit small discs at 50 meters, with a heart rate pounding from cross-country skiing. A snow cover protects the muzzle and front sight until the competitor enters the range. The 7.4 proves that straight pull technology can be adapted for pure speed and cold weather resilience. It handles like a lightweight extension of the arm built for a sport where milliseconds on the range translate to victory on the track. From the German forests to the Olympic tracks, every nation tackles the straight pull concept with its own engineering flavor. If you enjoyed this mechanical deep dive, hit that like button and subscribe for more history and hardware. Let me know in the comments, which of these actions would you trust in the field?